comments, type it in the chat. I'm going to pay attention to the chat for Jeramie. And then let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, Jeramie, thank you so much for being here, because you're just absolutely incredible. And just being having this opportunity to be listening to you today is just really an honor of mine. So thank you so much. For those of you who don't know who Jeramie is, Jeramie, well, he accidentally perfected the second home brokerage business model in the worst real estate market in history. And with nothing but his grit, his relentless drive, and an advice from a kindergartner, which I'm going to need to hear this story later, Jeramie, he started to excel in recognizing patterns in real estate. So fast forward to today, he is the founder of the Worley Real Estate Network. He's a servant leader. If any of you know him, but you absolutely know this about him, he is 100% a servant leader with the privilege of uniting a global real estate team brokerage. It's brokered by EXP, and his headquarters is in Branson, Missouri. He serves a team of agents, investors, real estate developers, buyers and sellers of short-term rental real estate portfolios. That's a mouthful to say. Retail and commercial buyers and sellers, large real estate project managers. And he serves as a top producing realtor beginning in 2006. And he has opened, he opened a brokerage in 2011, and he quickly became #1 independent brokerage in Branson, Missouri. And in 2022, he made the decision to scale that successful model and grow it around the globe. And I think that's one of the reasons why he partnered here at EXP. He's also a highly acclaimed author of Myths, Management, and the Mastery of Vacation Rentals, the second edition. His service in short-term rental real estate investors has earned him regular speaking engagements. And he is also a podcaster, you guys, of Cocktails and Dreams Real Estate Podcast. So you can check that out. It's on our Facebook, right, Jeramie?
Yeah, it's on Spotify, Apple. It's on if you go to Buzzsprout, you can just find whatever platform you like to listen to. We're on them all. And thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Now I feel like I have to deliver big time after all that.
As long as you have a microphone like this, Jeramie.
Oh, well.
I think it
well, I'll do my best to hanging off screen anyway. But I'm glad to be here, and really I'm just a guy in an office in Branson, Missouri, doing my best. And Candace, it's good to see you. Candace is actually our newest network partner, and we're so overjoyed to have her, because she definitely lives with the same passion that we do for people. And so we're so thankful that we found Candace, and looking forward to sewing into her life. And I will also say this, guys, I'm a human being, just like the rest of you. And so I love connection. I love people. And I'm also an introvert with I don't like to invite people to my parties, because I'm like, hey, if it's okay, I'm having a party at 8 p.m. But if you have something else to do, that's totally fine. We'll be here. You're very welcome to be here, but you don't have to be here. So I will say this, I love to see your faces. So we're like the Statue of Liberty here. So bring us your pajamas, bring us your lunchtime, soup, bring us your no makeup. I don't care. This is just information. You're all beautiful people to me. And if you want the most out of this, then let's turn on our cameras, but you don't have to. You're welcome to be private. It's okay. But I want to deliver this to you. And I feel like you're going to get more out of it if you're staring at my eyeballs. And I promise you, because this is what's going to happen at the end of this call today. I will promise you that 3 of you will be extremely frustrated by what I tell you. And 1 of you will take action, and it will absolutely change your life. Who's it going to be? Who's going to be frustrated and who's going to take action? I don't know. But I would love to hear back on that. And so, because that's what happens when I give this speech. I've given this speech to my agents over and over again. This is a real life story of what happened to me and my journey with private money. And it all started, well, let me just start. Like, who right now is investing in real estate? Like, raise your hand or do the little icon or give me one of these. You can keep your camera off. And I also love awkward pauses, so I'll sit for a long time until somebody says something, because I love to just talk. So who's no one? I'll assume that no one is investing in real estate. Scott, thank you. Not yet. Awesome. Justine,
I
do
have a house.
you have a house like that you live
Yeah.
in?
Yeah.
Congratulations, you are a real estate investor. And your cat, what's your cat's name?
Junebug. It's
Junebug.
funny. She always shows up for Cari's webinars. Like she'll be doing her own thing all day. 2:00 she comes over. It's the weirdest.
I'm privileged that she's part of mine. I'm one cat away from being a crazy cat person. So don't worry about that. I love Junebug. Thank you. So, okay, so you're already a real estate investor. We've got some people that are looking to invest soon. And so this is what happened to me as I was, and Chrissy, you own your home. So congratulations, you're a real estate investor. The transition to your next piece of real estate is not that hard. And so let me ask you guys, what's stopping you from being a real estate investor?
Horror stories of
Horror.
rental of yucky renters. I
Yep.
say yucky because I don't want to use other inappropriate language.
I have lived that life. That's what actually drove me into the short-term rental business, because you get your money up front. You know, you get 4 times the cash flow off of 1/3 of the occupancy. So yeah, I understand that. Who else hasn't? Give me a good reason on why you haven't pulled the trigger and invested in some real estate.
Money.
Money, absolutely. Hey, there's Cari. Hey, Junebug knew Cari was going to show up. She knew.
But
Okay, money. What else?
I don't know enough.
Yeah, lack of knowledge, which translates into a confidence factor, right? Probably. Okay, well, those are some great answers. And honestly, it's the reason why most people don't invest in real estate. So imagine if you had a gateway for all of your clients to enter into the real estate business, how much more business that you could get for yourself, for your own personal business, just by being an agent that's conducting transactions for people. Because if you can master this or get over this fear yourself, you can then guide all of your clients into the beautiful world of real estate investing. And your real estate portfolio will sustain you when a lot of things fail in your life, right? Health, finances, things like that. Buying great cash flow investments is the most important thing that you can do, next to loving your family and spending time with your creator, because it is that important. And Haley, if you might monitor the what do you call it, the audio of some people, because I'm easily distracted. And okay, gotcha. And so I want to tell you that this may be one of the most important conversations that you hear, because the work that I've done, I'm still getting some bang, and I'm going to do my best to keep going. I think that it's probably going to be one of the most important things that you hear, because these actions that I'm about to tell you about have been the greatest increaser of net worth in my life, and has given me the freedom to do what I was put on the planet to do, which is to be a light for people. And Haley and I were just talking about this. So thank you for sharing me some of your reservations and the reasons why you're on the call today. So here you go. Let's rewind the camera to the story to about 2014. Like, I didn't own any real estate then. In fact, I was recovering from the worst real estate market in history. I'd taken out so many loans just to be able to keep moving forward with my real estate business. And I had small children, and gas, groceries, and diapers and rent. It just took everything that I had. But yet I was surrounded by people who were investing in real estate. And that's the first thing. If you were going to write anything down or take any first step action, it is to surround yourself with people who are investing in real estate. So somebody give me one example of where you could go to do that.
I know lots of lenders that invest in real estate themselves. They'll definitely love to talk to you.
Oh, absolutely. They'll buy you lunch and help you. So do this. Invite one of those people out and say, I want to buy you lunch because I want to pick your brain. Get yourself into situations where you're learning from people who are confidently investing in real estate, because this is what happens. They will challenge your mindset. And this is important because here's something that I kept hearing over and over again. Here I am selling investment real estate, and I hadn't really done much of it myself because I was struggling to get the down payment to invest in a piece of real estate. I knew where some good deals were, but I'm like, gosh, if I only had 20 grand or so to put down on this, then I'd be able to invest in real estate. And these people would say to me, Jeramie, why do you need money to invest in real estate? And I'd be like, I don't understand what you're saying to me right now. Like, my mom and dad taught me that if I needed money, I had to work overtime, because it's really funny how in the real world, your time is worth a certain amount of money. And then if you spend a little bit more of it, it's worth this much more. And I said, nah, to heck with all that. And so I became an entrepreneur. But my parents also taught me that if you borrow money, it's bad. You're in the hole. And so borrowing money from people became this thing that I never wanted to do. So you got to stop. That has to change right now. Like today, it's got to change. And I'm going to help you with that. And these people kept telling me, Jeramie, you can invest in real estate with no money. And I thought, I just don't believe it. I didn't believe it. I didn't. And I thought, I am going to do it. Like when my mom would never let me drive a stick shift car because she thought I would wreck it. She's an overly protective mom, and I love her. And so I had to grow up, graduate college, and go buy a car that was a stick shift. And my dad had to drive it off the lot for me and get it home so that I could teach myself how to drive a stick shift. And that's how things get done. You have to become so intolerant of the status quo that you say to yourself, there is no possible way forward for me but learning this. And so I said to myself, I'm going to learn how to buy a piece of real estate with none of my own money. That was the challenge that I made to myself. So I began to look for a property, and I found a property. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath in a place called Notch Condos. And it was listed for $54,000 at the time. What a great deal back then, especially. And this was a condo where I knew that short-term rentals were approved. I knew I wouldn't have any issues getting something approved there. And so $54,000. So what's 20% of that? I'm gonna make you guys work a little bit.
About 10 grand, right? No, 5.
10 grand. Yeah, keep going. I think we're close there. Thank you for participating. I love it. If I say something that you guys like, give me an amen or something, or keep me encouraged, because I want to be sure that what I'm saying is landing with you. All right. So I think it's, what is it, like 16,000, something like that ish?
I got 10,800.
10,800. Is that all it is? That's all it is. Well, congratulations. Justine, you were right after all. So thank you for your participation. And so 10,800. So that was the only thing stopping me from investing in real estate. Could you believe that? $10,800. And I didn't have it though. I didn't have it. And so I thought, okay, where do I get $10,000? And this was a fully furnished condo. So I'm thinking, if I could just get somebody to give me $10,000 for the down payment, then I'll go borrow the remaining amount from a bank, and I've got the money that I need for this thing. And I ran the numbers on it. I put a spreadsheet together of what I thought I could earn and what my expenses were. And my first year rate of return calculation showed me that I could earn a profit. So I had a plan. And I had a plan to buy this thing, and I had a plan to make profit. And I had budgeted in my first mortgage to the bank, my second mortgage to a private equity investor. And I was also going to borrow money to remodel the thing because it needed some help. I also have a very high standard with the properties that I buy, especially the short-term rental properties. So I wanted to be sure that the trim was painted, the doors were painted, because I wanted it to look different than every other picture that was out there on VRBO. And here's the problem with remodels. Like, where do you stop? You start with the remodels and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do these countertops and they look great. And then you're like, oh, these floors look disgusting. And then you're like, okay, I'm doing these floors and that's where I'm going to stop. And you're like, if I could just put a little paint on these walls, So that's what happened. So I set a budget for myself to make sure that I wasn't going to surpass that budget. And it was about $14,000 to remodel, and also the there was furniture. I thought the furniture was going to be great because from the pictures it looked good, and I kind of walked through it pretty quick a few times. But then once I got in there and was remodeling it, the furniture was pretty gross, and I knew I was going to need some new mattresses. So I ended up. So you got a budget for more than you think you are. You know, put a very generous budget for incidentals and miscellaneous in there because you're going to need it. And so what I did is I went to Lowe's or Home Depot. You take your pick, because you can get a Lowe's or Home Depot credit card, and you can hire contractors from Lowe's and Home Depot and pay for it and put it all on your Home Depot or Lowe's credit card. So I paid my contractors with the credit card. I bought the materials from Home Depot with the credit card. I put the furniture that I needed on a 24-month same as cash deal. So I borrowed everything that I needed to make this nightly rental work. And I did find a private equity investor, and it was my grandpa. You know, there's somebody close to you that believes in you. And I know what it's like to do business with family, but you got to start somewhere, and it doesn't matter because you're not going to fail. And especially if it's somebody close to you, you're going to work that much harder and make sure that you don't fail. Plus, Grandpa and I already had a business together. He was he helped me start the short-term rental business. He bought a few, and I helped him manage them. So I was stepping off on my own, and he was very happy to help me do that. So he gave me the 10 grand, 800, and I think 16,000. I think the reason why I had that number in my head is because that's what I ended up paying him back. So I ended up paying him back $16,000 off of a $10,800 investment that he made to me. And I agreed to pay him monthly installments. And the payment for that 10 grand was like $56 a month. And he wanted it every month, and I paid him every month. And I operated that property for a year, and that property earned me $6,000 in cash flow. Now, what's the return on $6,000 off $0 cash invested? $6,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it is an infinite return off of private equity. Now, let's keep in mind those words, infinite return, because we're going to go to chapter 2. So chapter 2 was fast forwarding a little bit, and I had realized that, okay, I've used private equity, and I bought that condo, and I really started rolling pretty good. As soon as I got the confidence even to invest in my own property, the minute that I did that, my words had iron, and my confidence shot through the roof. So my ability to sell an investor compounded infinitely, because I went from being an investor-friendly agent to an investor agent. I no longer had to overcome objections. Like, what if this is so good, why aren't you doing it? Now I can say, it is so good and I am doing it, and you should do it too. So I made a lot more money on commissions, and I needed something to do with that. So I bought another 2-bedroom using my own money, and I bought a 4-bedroom, and I bought a 3-bedroom, and I started building my portfolio of short-term rental investments. But here's what happens. I own like 5 properties, and I'm trying to run a real estate business. My wife is managing kids and also working. And it's like, now I got like these 6 properties, and I got so many jobs. So it was time to consolidate. And because I was an expert in my local market in the short-term rental biz, I knew where the deals were. And you guys do too. I mean, if you guys are experts in the real estate business and you're not investing in real estate, you've missed it. You've completely missed your career, because you have to start stashing money away for yourself, because your investors don't need all the deals. You should keep some for yourself because of the freedoms that it will open up for you. So there was an opportunity for these great big 9 and 10 bedroom homes to be built at this place called Chateau Cove. And I could see it. It was nothing but a hill, but the floor plans were phenomenal. The lake views were phenomenal. The problem was these properties were $650,000. Well, I've been investing in $54,000 condos and $97,000 condos. And I took a big risk and bought a $280,000 4-bedroom cabin. But I'd never had the courage or even the thought that I could even invest in over a $500,000 property. But I knew what the numbers were, And I knew that it was absolutely insane. I knew that this property would cash flow $40,000 to $50,000. That's a full-time job, right? And so here I am thinking, I don't know. My confidence was like, I don't know. How often can I keep doing this? How often can I keep throwing myself at this big mountain? And I was like, you know what, Kelly's my beautiful wife. She's on another Zoom call right now. Otherwise she'd be here. I said, I just don't think we can do this. This is just too much. We're crazy. And she's like, no, let's do this. And she's like, let's sell some of our other properties and let's do a 1031 exchange and let's roll in to let's get a one of these big properties. And she said, she was the one that said that, and I was like, I was hyperventilating, you know. So trust me when I tell you that this feeling of fear is real. I know that it's real, but you must move past it in a courageous way. And my beautiful, smart, talented, redheaded wife said, let's do this. But here's the thing. We're going to sell 2 of our properties. We're going to do a 1031 exchange. So we had about 40,000 in equity that we were going to roll in from the sale of a couple of these condos, but we still needed another $60,000. And we thought to ourselves, well, where are we going to get this money? And I thought, well, it worked well with Grandpa, but here's the thing, guys. It's okay to like ask your family for money. That was still family, but now I had to bridge the gap and I had to come up with a pitch. So I had a plan and I knew what the profit was going to be, but I had to come up with a pitch. And I had to find somebody that was going to be the perfect private equity partner for me. And my mom and dad had a friend whose name was Tim, and he was complaining a lot about the money that his stock market guy wasn't making for him. And we knew him. I've known this guy since I was 12 years old, which can be good or bad, but luckily I was a good kid. And Kelly and I called him up and we said, Tim, there's this hot real estate deal that we've been looking at for a while. And here's the plan and here's the profit. We just need about 60 grand to combine with our 40 grand and we're going to make this thing happen. And he's like, well, I'm interested. And so we talked a little bit and came up with some terms. He didn't want monthly payments. He wanted quarterly payments. And he just wanted more income than what he was earning from the stock market or from what he was paying this guy who wasn't earning him any money. And I'm like, well, Tim, you know, I'm going to offer you, the rates were so low at the time. I offered him a great deal by giving him 6% on his money and on his 60 grand. And what we were going to do is it was a 3-year balloon. I said, you're going to get all your money back in 3 years. I'm going to make you quarterly payments and I'm going to pay you 6% on the money. And he said, great. Where should I send it? So he sent the money, we made the down payment and we built that property. And the property did exactly what we thought it would do. It cash flowed $45,000 that first year. And we decided to buy another one. We believed in that property so much that we decided to double down. And we sold our other properties. The remaining smaller properties that we had, we consolidated those and bought another property in the same area. And so we had 2 properties in the same area, which I highly recommend to anybody in the short-term rental business because things happen and sometimes it's good to move people from one property to the next. We've had to do that a number of times in our business. And so here now I have these 2 massive 9 bedrooms, except, you know, here's a funny story. COVID happened while the second one was being built. And so here I am in the middle of a global pandemic, trying to relax at home with my children. I mean, I want to be quarantined for 2 months every year. Give me a break. It was the best time of my life, except for the fact that there was this big question mark. And it was, do I try to sell this property? I got payments on it. And do I spend another $90,000 furnishing this place? Global tourism is shut down completely. In fact, I sold it. I had sold the property for 50 grand more than what I paid for it. And that guy freaked out and canceled the contract. So I'm like, well, here we go. So fast forward, those properties more than doubled in value in the next 18 months. So when it came time to pay Tim back the $60,000 that I owed him. I had a property that had gone from $650,000 to $1.5 million that was earning me $50,000 a year in positive cash flow. And so when that time came due, I said, Tim, I'll tell you what, I found another property that I've got my eyes on, but I need $100,000. So would you like to keep your money with me? And if you do, I still owed him like 2 months left. I said, if you do, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to pay you everything that I was going to pay you on that $60,000. Plus, we're going to reset the loan amount. You send me another $40,000, and we're going to reset the note starting today at $100,000 at 6% interest. And I'll pay you back in 3 years. So I had a good relationship with my private equity investor. I took care of him. He was happy that I made money, and he was happy that his money was making money because that gave him a feeling of security. So the big question is how long would it have taken me to save the amount of money and miss the appreciation window and cash flow window of those two properties? I actually sold both of those properties, one of them for 1.5, one of them for 1.25. That's over $1.4 million of money, of cash that's in my pocket now because I had the courage to ask somebody for the money. And because I had the knowledge and brain power to study my market and know it better than any other real estate agent out there. And because I had the systems and tools to evaluate the short-term rental business that gave me the confidence to be the investor that my clients were counting on me to be. And I gave Tim an experience with his money that a certified stockbroker couldn't give to him. And that's the huge aha for all of you here on this call, is that you are way more powerful than you believe yourself to be, because your identity must change. If you want to use private equity to invest in real estate and increase your net worth, you got to have a pitch, a plan, and profit. You got to have all three. If you don't have all three, don't pitch anybody. You've got to be so passionate and confident in this plan that your pitch just comes off passionately. So who are you? Are you a person that is scared to ask somebody for money? Or are you the person that literally gives people double-digit returns backed by real estate? And is it you that's begging to be introduced to people, or should it be other people who are begging to be introduced to you? Who are you? I'm Jeramie Worley. I give people double-digit returns backed by real estate. Do you know anybody whose money is not performing well? I'd be happy to talk to them. I have 2 properties right now I know I could buy. I would buy them. Who's got money? Right? It's got to be that way. That's the way you have to approach this business. Any questions so far? Any thoughts? Any ahas?
I feel like with my personal so what's most trepidatious to me, if we made it past my money hurdle, which is the first one I gave to you. Okay, so now my next hurdle is I don't understand the lingo, the cap, the flow, the words and the jargon that the people are using that get them hyped. I just feel like disconnected from that energy, and I don't know a good way to learn it.
So you are incredibly smart, powerful human being. So if you had to decide right now with no advice where you would go to learn what a cap rate meant, where would you go?
Google.
So what's stopping you from doing that? Right? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But the story you keep telling yourself on why you're not doing it. Whatever that is. And it's just a fact, and it's true. And I'm sorry, my coaching style is very abrupt, and it's not real lovey-dovey. It's because you should stop being lovey-dovey with yourself. You need to take immediate action. I mean, Tony Robbins says that the definition of power literally is the ability to act. So you can create a powerful change in your lifestyle, Justine, by taking action the minute you get off this call and looking up what is a cap rate. Because the minute you do, you will be able to speak the language that an investor speaks, and then you'll be on the same level as them. And I've got one of my agents. There's a lot of different types of people. One of my agents, actually, Lisa, your son is a perfect example of somebody that is a very detailed, oriented, and caring person. He will not sell anything unless he understands it from this direction, and this direction, and this direction, and this direction, this direction, this direction, this direction. You see what I mean? And that makes him very powerful. It makes him incredibly reliable to his clients. Am I right? Yep. Yep. He is.
Absolutely.
Yep. He is. He is
We
incredibly
can get
powerful.
lost in all that minutia and get into analysis or paralysis by analysis, right? But he learned it on the fly.
He did. And that's the kind of agent you want, right? You want an agent that's going to analyze the deal for you. So my coaching with Jason had always been, get out there and make some mistakes. You're going to feel like a fool those first 100 calls that you make. So get out there and make them. Now, the opposite end of that, I've had agents on the complete opposite end of that are like, okay, I heard something and they didn't even let me finish talking, and they went out and started selling something and got themselves in trouble. And I'm like, okay, well, let's fix this stuff. So there's got to be a combination of both. You have to learn and you have to take action. And so that would be my encouragement for you, Justine, to go ahead and start.
And I think the first thing you said, Jeramie, was surround yourself with those people. Surround yourself with people who do know that, and network like this, you know, to learn it.
That's right. And I'll get to your question in 1 second, Matthew. And so Justine, I think that would help you is to show up at a real estate investor association. And don't try to prove anything. Just be as authentic as you can possibly be. And something tells me you're an incredibly authentic person because you're a cat person. And cats don't like you if you're not real. Trust me. They can smell it a mile off. And so just go show up and just say, you know what, I'm here to learn. And people will surround you and they will teach you. All right, Matthew, you got a question?
It wasn't a question, but I was going to tell Justine, there's lots of like Facebook groups about investing and getting to learn all the caps and all that stuff. But I was just going to say, Jeramie, it's interesting because like, I love the fact that you, like you said, you knew your market, you were investing. I worked in Northern Arizona, and one of my co-realtors, well, I'm busy selling houses. She was selling houses and then buying investment properties too. And then I think she was like you, she saw, I think it was a 1-bedroom, I want to say 1 bed, 1 bath, maybe a 2-bedroom cabin in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And she bought it. And for an Airbnb, it made her $43,000 a year. And she's like, she did what you did, started selling stuff. And now she's my age, she's retired, living in Florida now. And I'm thinking, damn, well, I was selling real estate. I should have been doing a little bit of that, like what you did. I think just wanted to comment on that.
Absolutely. And it's not too late because there's always a good deal. Always. And again, if you want to use private money to invest in real estate, your identity must change. And you must become that person that is offering people a smoking red hot deal to invest in real estate. In fact, I really don't even want to use my own money ever again to invest in real estate. Because I'm keeping it because it's cash. Because what if there's this great deal that comes up and I've got to, because it's fast. I could pay cash for something now because I've got cash available. And that's power. That's an incredible amount of power. So you can find some scripts everywhere for private equity. I will say this, you do have to be a little bit cautious because you don't just want to go on Facebook or LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm offering returns to people who are investing in real estate, because there's some SEC rules that surround this. In fact, the rule is that it has to be somebody that you know or have been introduced to by somebody that you know. So you can tell your friends, you can let people know, hey, I'm looking for, I'm looking to build relationships with people that want to invest in real estate or want higher returns backed by real estate. Hey, you know what, Candace, I've got this friend, Cari. She makes a lot of money at EXP. She's a tremendous recruiter. She's got a lot of money coming in from revenue share, and she needs something to do with it. So I bet if you offered her a great deal, she might back you up. And so you just say, hey, you know what? And even when you're meeting new people, you can just say, hey, you know what do you do? I take advantage of real estate deals. Wow. You're now an incredibly interesting person. Yeah, I take advantage of real estate deals. And I'm opening up my real estate business to investors. Whoa, what does that mean? Well, it means I'm paying people like you more than 4 to 5 times what a CD would pay. Can I show you some of the properties that I'm looking at? And now you've got some great relationships. And so I'll tell you one more story, but I want to see if there's any questions before I do.
I was just going to mention to Justine that one thing that I did was went on Facebook, found an Airbnb event that was going on. It was a public event, and I went to it, and there was probably 50 to 75 people. It was the person who was a realtor, and he was actually telling his story. So he talked about how he illegally got into Airbnbs by renting out apartments. So he told his story. The whole place was, set up. So it was staged for the Airbnb, and it was full of millennials, people that just wanted to learn information. There was only 3 people that actually owned short-term rentals. So I would say maybe even find somebody that you can partner with and do an event, or bring in an expert instead of, but that was a really cool event, and I got to feel the culture, and I learned a lot just by observing. And no one knew I was a realtor until they started talking to me. So it was fun.
Yeah, and another thing that you can do is Airbnb arbitrage. I'm not a huge fan of it, but for people that don't have access to capital or a private equity investor, you're just negotiating yourself the spread from what a long-term rental and a short-term rental would do. So that's another way to kind of get started in that business if you really want to. And so I'll tell this story, but before I do, I'm just going to give you a few more technical details as it pertains to a private equity investor. So it's like, let's say you get a yes. Let's say somebody says, yes, I want to give you money. Now what? Okay, that's like a brand new real estate agent. You're like, okay, I finally got a client. Now I have to write a contract. Okay, how do I do that? I don't know. It's crazy. But you learned it, didn't you? I mean, you did, and you're good at it. So you'll be good at investing in real estate, and you'll be good at managing your private equity investors. You just will. There's not a single person on this call that is not a professional. You wouldn't be in this company. This company demands that you're smart, that you understand it. This is not an easy company to understand for a lot of people. But if you are here, you're incredibly intelligent. So there's no reason why you can't fully succeed as a real estate investor. I know it because I have a theater degree, guys. I don't know how to do a lot of this stuff, but I figured it out, and you can too. You just got to have grit and a positive attitude and just refuse to give up. And so I would say that if once you get a private equity investor, it is in your best interests to offer as little documentation as possible. If you can, you'll want to have a promissory note, and that's it. Give them a promissory note, and that's it. And that note tells them exactly what you're going to pay them, when, how much. Now, savvy investors are going to ask for the following documents: a deed of trust. If there's no, if they're lending you all the money, they're going to want a first deed of trust. If they're lending you a down payment, they're going to want at least a second deed of trust, or a second mortgage, depending on what type of state you live in. But that gives them some security that they're going to get their money back because it's backed by real estate. Maybe you even offer that if you want, you can. I have in the past. I prefer to do as little paperwork as possible because I know I'm going to pay people back. If you're going to buy the property in an LLC, then they may require you to do a personal guarantee. You may offer a personal guarantee. I wouldn't offer it unless they asked for it. But if they asked for it, I'd say, sure, no problem. And that's really about it. Sometimes they may want to see an appraisal. Sometimes they may want to see some of your contract documents. But remember, your private equity lender is not a business partner. And that's the best thing about them. They don't have to know anything about the deal. In fact, if you decide not to buy that property, and that happened to me once, I didn't end up buying this property, but I let that investor know. I said, I've got another couple properties in mind. I know they're coming on the market. Is it okay if I hold your money? I'm still going to pay you the interest on it, but that way I'll be ready to execute faster when I get some other, properties on the market. And I did. We ended up passing on one property, and we bought another one with that $100,000 that we got from Tim. And that's our ranch. That's an 80-acre private ranch with a 10-acre private lake that we're renting ranches to people. And we just got some great bookings for the end of March. And we're so excited because it's a brand new venture. People rent condos, they rent cabins, but this is a huge risk for us. But that's okay. It's going to be risky. The fear of investing in real estate will never go away. That's a dirty little secret that no one will tell you. It doesn't matter if you buy one property or 8. The fear will always be there. You must learn to dance with it. Okay. And that's it. And so here's the story, Haley, that you want to know the answer to. You can also find this in my book, Myths, Management, and Mastery of Short-Term Rentals. And if you want it, we can get you a copy. Beth, you can throw a link in the chat maybe if you want. But honestly, that's not why I'm here. I don't want you to buy my book. I don't even, now I'm embarrassed that I brought it up. But the story is in the book. And here's what the story is. So I was driving my daughter to school one day, and she was a kindergartner. What's this comment? This is awesome. Rent ranches to bid. Yes, exactly. I've got to do this. I've got too many jobs. I need help doing that. But that's a great idea. Corporate retreats, family reunions, wonderful idea. So I was driving my daughter. She was a kindergartner at the time. She's 17 years old now, but she was a kindergartner at the time. And she has a boyfriend, and this is just hard for me. But anyway, she was a kindergartner at the time, and she was telling me about this disciplinary system that the kindergartners had. And they start every kindergartner off with a certain number of points for the year. They get like 10 points. And my she's a social, talkative, she was just a happy-go-lucky kid. And she lost a point. And it was really an effective tactic. I mean, for disciplinary tactics, if you have small children and you need some help, like it worked really, really well. She lost a point, and she was distraught about it. And that's what I love about driving my kids to school instead of putting them on the bus, is that's when all the anxiety comes out. And you can really coach your kids in that 15 minutes on the way to school. But on this day, Daphne coached me, because in my attempt to coach her, I was like, well, Daphne, I said, that's a really effective technique, because our actions in life have consequences. And I said, for example, if Dad drove this car a little bit too fast, police would pull me over and give me a ticket for, going too fast. And she's like, well, what's the consequence? Great question for a kindergartner. And I'm like, well, because I wanted to be honest with her. I want to say, well, I would just hire a lawyer and fix the ticket, and that would be very expensive for me to do. And I was broke at this time, guys. It was like 2008. I was literally like in the worst financial place I had ever been in my entire life, like literally fighting to go to work every day. And my wife was even saying to me, she's like, why don't you just go get a job? Not the jobs were that easy to find in the second home market, but I just believed that I could sell real estate. I just knew that I was destined to do it. I honestly felt like it was a destiny, but I was showing up every day with a very lackluster destiny. I mean, my office was the trunk of my car, and here I am trying to sell real estate in the worst real estate market in history. And Daphne says to me, she goes, Dad, that's not the same thing. She goes, money is not rare. She goes, if you want money, you can just make more money. And if I lose a point, I can never, ever, ever get it back. And I went numb. I'm not even sure she got out of the car. I was like drooling on the way home, and I was like, money is not rare. Money is not rare. How often do we hear stories of money being wasted? There's an ocean of money out there, literally, guys, an ocean of money. It's so big and so vast, you would drown in it. Why are you concerned about trying to get a little tiny bit of it? There's so much of it out there, guys. Nothing will stop you from confidently moving forward in an explosive, life-changing real estate career than taking action in real estate investing. Because not only can you change your life, you can literally be an agent of change for every single person that has the privilege to do business with you. In fact, once you master this, they would be crazy to do business with anyone else, right? So there you go. That's all I've got for you today. I'm happy to answer questions and stay on as long as you like.
Well, we
Oh,
do have one question in
yeah.
workplace, Jeramie. So let me just pull that up.
Yeah.
Rochelle was asking, how do you find a private equity investor? Can you dive into that just a little bit more?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways, and it usually just starts off the way you would begin to spread the word about anything else. It starts with your circle of influence and the people around you. And you just say, you talk about the exciting properties that you've got, and I'm looking for a private equity investor to help me with this. And if you know somebody that has money, then you know they've got quite a bit of money, then you can just ask them, hey, have you ever been a private equity lender for real estate investors? And a lot of times, if they say no, then you can educate them on that process. You know, would you be interested in investing in real estate? Have you ever thought about that? You know, and that's really all it takes is just those first initial conversations. You know, I give double-digit returns backed by real estate. If you're interested in investing in real estate, then I'm your guy. A lot of people don't want the hassle of investing in the actual property, but they will invest in real estate. Does that make sense? They don't want a property, but they'll invest in real estate through you. Are you a real estate investor? Have you ever invested in real estate? You have to ask the right questions. And you have to put yourself out there. You must confidently put yourself out there. And it usually, guys, it usually starts with the property that you want so bad that you can't afford yet.
So Jeramie, would you recommend that a private investor is better than a hard money loan?
Yes. So basically, private equity is just a fancy way of saying rich people. Hard money is different. You can use hard money, but hard money is going to be like super high rates of interest, like 12 to 25%, with very short turnaround times. A lot of times they include upfront points. So it actually costs you money to borrow the money, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But sometimes you're in a pinch and you need 100 grand fast to close a deal. That's what hard money is for. It's for a short-term solution. Here's a question, Candace. Can you use 1031 exchange from a property for land only? Yes. If you sell 2 condos. So yes, it's my understanding that you can. That would be considered a like-kind exchange. It's real estate for real estate. Here's the deal. If you have a loan, you have to replace the loan. And if you have a value, you have to replace the value. Because you always have to exchange up. You can't exchange down. Because if you exchange down, it creates something called mortgage boot, which is very bad. And you don't want that. Because basically the IRS says that any loan that you recaptured that you didn't reinvest is actually income, and it will drastically change your taxable income for that year, and you'll in fact get taxed on money you didn't make. So you don't want to do that. So here's the 2 rules. As long as you're replacing your value and you're replacing your loan, you can exchange for other real estate. But again, that's my answer, and I'm not a qualified 1031 intermediary. So I would find that. I would start with that. find a qualified intermediary in your area, and a title company is a great way to start asking for that. Just because the title company you love has a 1031 intermediary attached to them doesn't mean they're good. It's a totally different business. In fact, the title company that I love to work with has the crappiest 1031 company attached to it. So I don't even use them. I use a different title company's 1031 exchange, and I hate when I do it, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. I love this chick. She's amazing up there, and I'm using her. So what other questions do we have? What happens if a deal goes south and you're unable to pay back your private equity partner? In that case, the land or the property would pay back your private equity partner because they have a first deed of trust. They would foreclose on the property, and they would own the property at that point, and hopefully get all their money back. And then depending on what type of person they are and how they demanded that back from you, they could take you to court. They could get a judgment against you, and you could be forced to pay them back with garnishments, whatever. If that happens, you would just want to communicate and try to work out some kind of payment plan. But it's not going to happen because you guys are going to know where the deals are, and you're going to know they're great cash flow deals. The best part about investing in real estate is that you can analyze the first year rate of return before you close on the property. You can't really do that with a stock or Bitcoin or anything else. In fact, you can't even hold it. You can't touch it. That's why I don't really like stocks and Bitcoin and stuff like that. I don't even know I don't even know who's driving the ship. I'm buying EXP stock for the first time. I'm buying stock in a long time because I think Glenn Sanford is an incredible leader. I met Darren Jacklin. He's on the board of directors. He's an incredible leader. Guys, we have an incredible leadership team. And I love the way the company is going. I know the way how the company is driven. And so I'm investing in EXP stock because I understand it. But I don't understand Microsoft. I don't know who's driving that ship. I'm not going to invest in that. And in fact, a lot of other people won't. So when you can speak that passionately about other types of investment versus stock versus real estate, people can see your passion, and it's really exciting for them. And you may just turn your private equity partners into real estate investors as well. And in some cases, somebody might have a piece of real estate that they own free and clear that you can buy from them, and they'll carry the note, which means you just make payments from them. You own the property. They maybe don't want to sell the property for tax reasons, but they owe it free and clear. They own it free and clear. They deed the property over to you at closing, and you have a promissory note for them. So you're able to buy the property with literally no underwriting whatsoever, because they're not going to check your bank accounts. They're not going to check. I mean, a lot of times they don't. That's another great way to use private money to buy real estate. What other questions are there?
Can we ask who's frustrated and who's ready to move forward? Who's excited and who's frustrated?
I'm gonna Google cap rates. Yep.
Yep. So Google cap rates.
Yep.
Google cash on cash return. Google total ROI. And Google IRR, or internal rate of return. And you can nerd out on that for hours and hours. But again, we're always happy to help. And yeah, at least in network groups, great place to find people. I'm just going through these comments to make sure I didn't miss anybody. So, and then again, guys, we're always available here to help you at the Worley Real Estate Network. If there's anything I can ever do for you, please let me know. I am passionate about real estate. I'm passionate about helping you get to the next level of your career. So take action. I promise you that and here's the thing. This all started for me in like 2014, 2015. The quality of your life can change drastically in 5 years. You won't even recognize yourself. But you got to be in barbarian mode. You got to be in barbarian mode to get there. So surround yourself with some other barbarians and get there. And it's okay. to not be in barbarian mode also. It's okay to like sit back around the campfire and let the cortisol leave your body. And it's okay to do that. But if you're in a place of want and your destination is ownership, then get in barbarian mode and learn. And Justine, you have homework. If you do not get back to me somehow through all these people, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna put my email in.
I wrote it down. I wrote them all down.
I will be incredibly disappointed in you if you don't email me by tomorrow and tell me where you found it and what you learned. Like, email me the link. Because I believe in you.
I already planned it in my head. I was gonna take a screenshot and I was gonna DM you like within 30 minutes.
Do it and make sure there's at least 3 pictures of Junebug. Okay.
I will. Oh, you know what I was gonna tell you? I didn't look too deeply into it because I wasn't on the vibration, but now I'm going to be on the vibration. I'm making the decision to be. Ricky Carruth is like backing people's fines right now with his own money. So
Nice.
you can reach out to him if you see a deal. He wants to help people buy real estate and he wants to partner with them on things. So he answers every DM that comes into him.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. What a great opportunity for everybody here, including me. I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah. I think he wants to buy $1 million worth of real estate this year. And he's like, are you going to help me? Send me your deals.
Yeah. Love it. Anything else? Well, guys, it's just been a pleasure. Thank you so much for letting me present here and tell some personal stories. I really appreciate you guys very much for staying and listening. And that's what I get out of bed for. I really am here to help you. And it makes me feel good to be able to help people. It gives me joy to create joy in others. So please go take action. I believe in you, and you just need to get to the point where you believe in yourself. And good luck, guys.
Thank you so much, Jeramie. I think another message that came through to me is that we don't always have to know the answer to everything. It's the power of stepping into courage. It's taking that one next step and being courageous. And with that courage comes competency, which then brings confidence over time.
I'm doing the exact same thing right now. I mean, instead of buying an investment property, I bought 20 acres of land and I'm developing it and learning as I go. And it's a very expensive seminar, but I know that it will work out. I will. And so you've always got to be on the edge of that next learning game for yourself. And because that's where passion happens. You know, I'll leave you with this. Tony Robbins says that the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably live with. And on the edge of uncertainty is where passion happens. I don't know this person super well yet, but she's super attractive and I think I could have a life with her, and it's so passionate. That's why I don't tell Kelly everything, because I want her to be constantly confused because there's so much passion there. So there you go.
We're not going to tell her that.
No, don't tell her my secrets. So, but I'd love to stay connected with you guys. So send me a note, and I'd love to hear how your investment journey goes. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.